Example 3 says if sine of alpha is equal to the square root of 7 divided by 4, sketch a right triangle with acute angle alpha and find the other 5 trig ratios of alpha. So I'm going to draw a right triangle here, and a small disclaimer is that this is definitely not to scale because I don't know what all of the dimensions are, and so I'm going to label this angle alpha here, and we know that sine of alpha is equal to the square root of 7 over 4, which if we think of our mnemonic device, so we know that this is opposite over hypotenuse. And so the opposite length is going to be this one here, and we know that that is equal to the square root of 7, and then the hypotenuse is this length here, and we know that that is equal to 4. So the next thing that we want to do before figuring out the other 5 trig functions or trig ratios is using the Pythagorean theorem to figure out the third side length, which is also the adjacent side length. And this is hypotenuse, and this one's the opposite. So, you can use x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, or a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. They're both different formats of the Pythagorean theorem. They mean the same thing. So I'll say a squared plus the square root of 7 squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. And if we do some simplification, we get a squared plus 7 is equal to 16. And then if I subtract 7 on both sides, we get a squared is equal to 9. And then if we take the square root of both sides from here, we get that a is equal to 3. So, all right. Now let's go ahead and write out the other 5 trig ratios. So we have sine, we have cosine, we have tangent, we have cosecant, and over here I will write secant and cotangent. Okay, so cosine, if we use our mnemonic device, it's ca, so cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is equal to 3 over 4. Tangent is opposite over adjacent because the mnemonic device says TOA. So that's going to be the square root of 7 over 3. And I'm going to go through these other ones kind of quickly. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So that's going to be 4 over the square root of 7. And if you rationalize that, that ends up giving you 4 times the square root of 7 over 7. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And so if we take this reciprocal of 3 over 4, that gives us 4 over 3. And then cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So that's going to be 3 over the square root of 7, which if we rationalize that, we get 3 root 7 over 7. So those are our 5 trig ratios that we were solving for. And that is how we find them.